All right, coming up on today's show, we're going to do a 2026 NFL mock draft here on the channel. Now that the first month of the year is done in the NFL, first 5 weeks in the college football season, thought it'd be a good time to do another mock. The last time we did a mock draft, we picked up 18 new subscribers. I'm wondering if we can top that number today. Can we get 19 or more new subs? If we can, we will drop another mock draft before Halloween. If not, it'll probably be after Halloween. So if you want more draft content, want another mock draft, need 19 or more new subscribers. Okay. A lot of changes in this mock, and this is what happens, right? You think you know who the good players in college football are, then it changes quickly. Saints have the number 1 pick. You think I'm going quarterback, right? Wrong. Rueben Bain Jr., the edge rusher out of Miami. He is the best player I've seen in college football this year, 6'3", 275. He can bend. He's strong. He looks fantastic. And look, I don't love this QB class right now. There's a couple guys I like, and we'll get to them here, but I think Spencer Rattler has shown enough that I wouldn't force the issue here. The Saints roster stinks, so if you can't trade out and get a haul here, just take the best player available. And to me right now, that is Rueben Bain Jr., the edge out of Miami. All right, trade alert. The Rams are going to trade up. Remember, they have 2 first-round picks right now, 13 and 25. And by the way, this draft order is based on reverse Super Bowl odds. They send 13 and 25 to Tennessee, a first-round pick next year, whereas the Titans send the number 2 pick and a 4th-round pick this year, number 102, back to the Rams in return. So that is the trade here. Pretty big one, obviously. Fernando Mendoza is the pick here. He's one of 2 QBs I really like right now for this 2026 draft, the quarterback out of Indiana. He's been fantastic this year, transferred from Cal, started all of last year too, played there. He's been in multiple systems. He's been productive at 2 different places. I think that matters. I think that's valuable to be in different situations and play a lot of ball. I think Indiana's better than they were last year, and Mendoza's a big reason why. So big, strong arm. The Rams with that extra first-round pick from Atlanta, I would not be shocked at all if they use those 2 first-rounders to move up, get their QB for the future, convince Stafford to play 1 more year, have Mendoza sit, and then he can take over in 2027. All right, the 3rd pick, Caleb Downs to the Jets. This is a spot I contemplated quarterback, but I don't, I'm on the fence on whether I would go QB right now if I'm the Jets. That secondary is a mess outside of Sauce Gardner, who is not even having a great year either. Their safety play is pretty poor. Aaron Glenn, defensive back, as a player, obviously, defensive background, would not be surprised at all if he pounded the table for a guy like Caleb Downs, who's arguably the best player in the draft. He goes 3rd overall to the Jets. All right, my second quarterback off the board, it's Dante Moore, who I think has the highest ceiling. I think he's got a bigger ceiling than Fernando Mendoza. He's a better athlete, can move around a little bit better. He goes to the Panthers at number 4. Yes, the Panthers. I don't like what I'm seeing out of Bryce Young this year. I think it's a very real possibility that they end up trading him and drafting a new quarterback. You compare Mendoza and Dante Moore, the 2 guys I take in the top 4 here. Very similar just numbers, right? Accuracy, both over 73%, basically the same passing yards, 1 interception each with a bunch of touchdowns. Like across the board, they've both been good. They're pushing the ball downfield a lot. I thought Dante Moore going into that environment, cross-country flight, biggest game of his life against Penn State, just staying cool and calm. And even when things got hairy, even when Penn State forced overtime and took a touchdown lead, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, it's 17-3 Oregon. This game feels over. Now we're down 24-17, have to score. Not only does he score to tie it, he scores again to start the second overtime, and then Drew Aller throws a pick. He outplayed Aller, a guy people like in this draft. I thought that was a fantastic performance in a tough environment. If he keeps playing like this, he could declare for the NFL draft after this year. Who is the better quarterback prospect? Type FM for Fernando Mendoza, DM for Dante Moore. Mendoza's played more ball, but I think Moore's got the higher ceiling. So it's kind of a pick your poison situation. Like selfishly, I'd like to see Moore go back to school and get more starts under his belt next year. But if he keeps ascending like this, it's going to be tough to turn down the draft. All right, we'll pick it up as we go here. Giants, 5th overall, Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle out of Utah. He's a right tackle, which is what the Giants could need because Jermaine Illuminor is a free agent, Andrew Thomas on the left side. So I like that fit to help protect Jackson Dart. Browns take a receiver, Jordyn Tyson, to hopefully be a big weapon for Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders or whoever the quarterback is next year. He's my favorite receiver in this draft. Good size, good speed, good hands. The Dolphins keep a local kid Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle for the Hurricanes. He's a right tackle as well. Patrick Paul's been really good at left tackle for the Dolphins, but Larry Borum's playing right tackle, and he sucks. And if Tua is your quarterback, that's actually the blind side, so they need someone good. Mauigoa's been very, very solid this year. Okay, Raiders at the 8th overall pick. T.J. Parker, the edge out of Clemson. One of 2 Clemson defensive linemen going here in the top 10. I watched the Bears-Raiders game. Max Crosby is unbelievable, but he gets no help. If they get another dude on that defensive line, it was supposed to be Christian Wilkins, also a Clemson guy. Maybe T.J. Parker's that answer. Could be Peter Woods as well. I went with him to the Cincinnati Bengals. Defense. Their defense sucks. You got to add talent to that side of the ball. Obviously you're always holding your breath with Joe Burrow's injury history, but if he's healthy, the offense is going to do its part. Can the defense? You're seeing without Burrow right now how bad of a team they actually are. All right, Keldric Faulk, the defensive lineman out of Auburn, he goes to the Cowboys here. Yeah, it turns out they missed Micah Parsons, so why not go get a pass rusher? He's kind of a tweener, can play some edge, can play some 3-tech. Put him on that defensive line, let him get after the quarterback. The Bears take Jeremiyah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame. They have not gotten good production out of DeAndre Swift so far this year, so running back's a position they could take high in the draft. Could depend how the draft falls. Edge, left tackle, a couple positions to monitor here as well. The Cardinals at 12 select Caleb Banks, big defensive tackle for Florida. Missed the first couple games of the season, but he's now getting his his season under him. Big game against Texas this weekend, so eager to see how he plays against them. They got a few NFL offensive linemen, so that'll be a good opportunity to put some good tape out there. But Arizona get a big bully there on the defensive line. Would definitely be a fan of that move. All right, Tennessee Titans select Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon. This dude's a baller, man. He's a willing blocker. He can run the seam. You can split him out wide. I think he's easily the best tight end in the draft right now. I like him more than Terrence Ferguson, his teammate from last year, who was ahead of him in the pecking order there for the Ducks. Remember, Titans traded down from 2 to 13, picked up another pick later coming up as well. All right, Makai Lemon, the wide receiver out of USC. I don't know if you guys have watched USC this year. Their offense is pretty electric, and this Lemon kid's a big reason why. He's excellent after the catch. He makes a lot of tough catches, speed. He can also make contested plays despite not being the biggest receiver. I like him a lot. And Drake May is playing really good football this year. You need to give him another weapon, though. Stephon Diggs, is he a long-term piece? Who knows? Obviously, a lot of those other young pieces, Jalen Polk didn't work out. They had to trade him. Javon Baker, they had to cut him. Pop Douglas isn't doing a lot this year. They need a big-time playmaker for that offense, and I think Lemon could be just that. All right, more mock draft selections to come, but got to tell you about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I've been right a lot recently on Prize Picks. I'm up like $500 the last couple of weeks, so maybe you want to tail my picks this week. I hit a 3-player lineup on Monday, and I am back for more. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want to pick your favorite quarterback stats for more passing yards, more on rushing yards, more on touchdowns? You can do so in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. The way Prize Picks works is simple. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player lineups. If you hit, you win money. It's as simple as that. Little 2-player college lineup this week. I like the more on Diego Pavia, 19.5 rushing yards. He's going to run around. That's a goblin play, so those are easier to hit. I like that one. Arch Manning, I'll take less on his 217.5 passing yards. He played better in Texas's last game, but it was against Sam Houston State. Let's see how he does against the SEC defense because it's been rough most of the year so far for Arch. In Florida, even though they have a bad record, they've actually been really good on defense. $20 entry to win $40. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, the Texans at 15th overall select Christen Miller, the defensive tackle out of Georgia, just kind of the latest and greatest Georgia Bulldog. He should be pretty good. LaNorris Sellers to the Steelers. I don't know where I'm at with Sellers right now. He's definitely still a bit of a project. I think if he does declare pro, he needs to sit for a year. Maybe you can get Aaron Rodgers to play another year. He's been playing better recently. Maybe he'd come back. Maybe Will Howard could start for a year. Have to wait and see. But Sellers has big-time potential, 6'3", 240, big arm, can run around. I don't think he's ready to play NFL quarterback even next year, but he's an intriguing guy with a lot of developmental skills. The Browns at 17, their second pick of this first round. Jermod McCoy, arguably the best corner in the draft. Now he's recovering from an injury. They're hoping to get him back in November, so we'll see how that goes. If he does come back with a clean bill of health and plays well, he could go even higher. He could be potentially a top 10 pick, but he's very talented, sticky in coverage, so keep an eye on him the second half of the college football season. All right, our second trade, once again, involves the Titans. They're going to move up from 25 to 18 with Minnesota. Minnesota also sends 50 to Tennessee, and in return, the Vikings get 25 and 34. So adds up pretty evenly on the trade chart as the Titans move up in the first round, move back in the second round there. Kadyn Proctor, the left tackle out of Alabama, did not play well in that season opener against Florida State, but he played really well against Georgia this past week. He's been trending up the last couple weeks. Big physical presence. You could pair him with J.C. Latham. Those could be your bookend tackles. Latham's been a little hit and miss early on in his career. Hopefully he develops, but Proctor's got big upside. You get Cam Ward a weapon in Sadiq at tight end, and you protect his blind side with Kadyn Proctor. You've got to build around Cam Ward. All right, the Colts at 19, Avieon Terrell, the younger brother of A.J. Terrell. That Colts secondary leaves a lot to be desired. I think that's an area they got to add moving forward, both at safety and corner, but especially at corner. All right, the Seahawks get Denzel Boston, keep him in the great state of Washington. He's been balling out this year for the Huskies. 6'4", 200, can really run. One of the best receiver prospects in this draft. JSN's obviously awesome. Cooper Kupp's just a glue guy. You need kind of that number 2 next to JSN. And they lost that big physical presence in DK Metcalf. Denzel Boston can help fill that if they were to pick him up. Who is your favorite wide receiver prospect in this draft so far? I like Jordan Tyson the best out of Arizona State, but Boston's a good player. There's a lot of good ones. I think this, everybody's looking ahead to Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams next year. I think this class this year is pretty darn good as well. Throw a name or two at me. All right, 21 here, the Broncos. Is this not the most Broncos offensive lineman of all time? Sean Payton's going to see this kid and say, sign me up. Jennings Dunker. I mean, that guy is going to play offensive lineman for the Denver Broncos. Put him next to Quinn Miners. They're going to be eating pancakes for breakfast. Having a really good year, playing on the right side. They can get out of Mike McGlinchey's contract this year, and he's kind of just average, so that seems like a win-win. All right, Manzor Delane, the corner out of LSU. DBU is back. LSU's secondary has sucked the last several years, but this year they got a couple really good players. Delane is one of them. The Bucks could move off Jamel Dean after this year. That's certainly possible, and Delane could be a natural replacement. 49ers select Austin Barber, could use a Barber, the offensive tackle out of Florida. Will they finally take an offensive lineman in the first round? At some point, you got to be thinking post-Trent Williams, and I know they just paid Colton McKivitz some money. He's not very good. You got to get a young developmental tackle in there at some point, so I took Barber here. Okay, the Commanders select Romello Height, Texas Tech. You college fans, get used to the Red Raiders. They got $1 billion oil tycoon investing into that program, so they're going to have a lot of talent moving forward. Kind of an edge linebacker hybrid here, but he's really quick off the edge and can get after the quarterback. All right, the Vikings select a center, Connor Liu, who right now projects to be the top center in this draft. Ryan Kelly already has 2 concussions this year. He's got 5 in the last 2.5 years. he may not be playing much longer in the NFL. And even if he is, he's only got 1 year left in his deal after this year. Bring in Connor Lew. He can step in and start or sit for a year. Vikings don't have a lot of roster needs. Well, maybe quarterback. We'll see. But beyond that, they're pretty loaded. So I think adding a center here for the foreseeable future makes sense. Trevor Gooseby, he's been rising up draft boards for the Texans Longhorns. He's technically just a redshirt sophomore, so he's pretty young. He could come back for another year, but playing really well at left tackle. What is the Chargers' future at the tackle spots? I mean, Joe Alt's going to be one of them, but is Slater done? Is he going to come back? Pretty gnarly patellar tendon injury. That's a tough one to come back from. Gooseby could come in and either play right tackle with Alt at left, or maybe Alt goes back to right if they move on from Slater, but Gooseby's a guy that can plug and play. Colton Hood, the other corner out of Tennessee, he has been playing, whereas Jermod McCoy is recovering from that injury. But he's taken advantage of kind of being that number one guy, playing pretty well. I've got him going to the Chiefs in round one here. All right, the Detroit Lions select LT Overton, the edge out of Bama. Big physical guy, about 265 pounds. They've tried to patchwork that opposite of Aiden Hutchinson's spot for a couple years now. They keep bringing back who's the Marcus Davenport. He keeps getting hurt. Just go draft a guy who can really do it. They drafted Tyleek Williams to play in the middle last year, and I think Overton coming off the edge could help quite a bit. All right, wrapping things up here, Cowboys at 29, A.J. Harris, the corner out of Penn State. Hasn't played great this year, but he does have a lot of pedigree, so hopefully he plays a little better. I do not like that Cowboys corner room after Deron Bland. Trevon Diggs looks cooked. The other guys they're trotting out there, Kyer Elam is horrible. They need defense in a lot of areas, which is why I went Keldric Faulk and A.J. Harris. Okay, Cassius Howell, the edge out of Texas A&M, goes to the Ravens here. The Ravens always find just these random defensive linemen in the draft, and they end up being really good. So Cassius Howell is the next one here. Eagles go Carnell Tate. I think there's a pretty decent chance they pivot off of A.J. Brown this year and try to clear out some of that cap space. Could be a post-June 1 trade for Brown the way his contract's structured, but Carnell Tate, big physical receiver, can stretch the field. Devontae Smith can elevate to being your one. Carnell Tate could be that number 2 guy. And then Mateo Uiagalelei, the younger brother of DJU, goes to the Bills at 32. Good edge rusher out of Oregon. A little bit of a slow start to this season, but still a very, very good prospect. All right, there you have it. My second 2026 mock draft. Do you like the pick your favorite team got? Now, a couple teams don't have first-round picks, so sorry to Packers fans, Jags fans, and Falcons fans, but for the other 29 fan bases, if you liked the pick I gave for you, type Y for yes. If you didn't, type N for no. And remember, if you want more mock draft videos, hit that subscribe button. We got 18 subs on our last one, so if we get 19 or more, we'll crank one up between now and Halloween. If not, we'll wait until November, but appreciate the love and support as always. We'll see you guys soon here on 4 Verts.